Okay, we're live. It's 2 o'clock, and it's time for another episode of What Does This Button Do? It's episode number 106. I find that hard to believe, but we've been doing this for a while now. And anyway, it's an yeah, there's Chris. Hey, it's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with us, the Geeks On Tour. All right. I can't get there. We are old dogs. We're learning new tricks, and we keep trying. I don't know. One of these days.
Falling all over ourselves.
Yeah, we're doing something different this time. But I'm Jim, and here with my wife, Chris. We're Geeks on Tour. And do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your Android phone or your iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
Well, we are geeks who teach. And we believe that the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis. So that's why we've come up with this weekly show. Our website is geeksontour.com, and there you'll find hundreds of prepared tutorial videos, as well as the show notes for these weekly shows.
Okay. Where are we now?
Where are we now? We are outside. We are not at home in Fort Lauderdale. We are in Orlando at an RV park called Thousand Trails. And that is a picture of our rig. And we decided to come up with this topic for today about internet connections on the road because we're having a very hard time getting internet connections here. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll hear some diesel trucks and some things going on, so you never know what's going to happen. Be careful.
Actually, they probably still can't see that we're outside, can they?
No, we have it inside here.
Because it's...
I kind of closed it in so we have enough light, and so we're not too worried about it.
We are sitting on a picnic table.
Where's the picnic? I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Okay. So today's show, we'll have an opening tip. Chris will do viewing photos. That's something really cool. Our beginner's lesson is going to be internet connections on the road. This is something that we're dealing with right now, something that we've been dealing with for 14 years. So we have a little bit of experience with it.
We have a lot of experience,
so,
not all of it good.
And we don't know everything by any means, but we have some tips for you. Our closing app will be the speed test. I thought it was going to be something else. But
it was. That's what is it? Signal tester, checker?
Yeah.
Signal checker. That's what it is.
Oh.
I wrote before you came up with that.
Scared me. Okay. If you have questions during the live show today, there's a YouTube chat window. I'll try and check it. We don't have enough computers today, but I'll try and check it occasionally, and we'll get there. And by Wednesday afternoon, we should have this baby up and running, and you should be able to see it, and we'll edit out all of that.
At thebuttonshow.com.
And we do invite you to become a member. Members get access to all of our content online and access to our forum where they can ask questions.
And 7 ebooks.
7 ebooks are available to you. So if you sign up as a member, don't order the ebook too. We've had that happen several times. So anyway, that's okay. All right, Chris, how about a quick tip? What do you got?
All right. I just want to talk about viewing photos. A little tip about Google Photos. And it is, if you start using Google Photos, it means you do not need to use Gallery or the Apple Photos anymore. Drives me nuts when I know that somebody is using Google Photos and yet they go to show me a picture and they still use their old app. So let's switch over to the phone and show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I'll start with the Samsung, with the Android phone.
There we go. A little focus maybe.
Yeah.
That's better. Okay.
All right. Now what I'm talking about, when you get a Android phone, you normally use this gallery in order to see your pictures. That's Google Photos. You have to install that. The gallery came with the phone. And if you use gallery, then you're just seeing the photos on the phone. You know, if you keep them cleaned off like I do, there's not many there. If you're using Google Photos, you should not view your pictures with gallery. View your pictures with photos. Google Photos. And that's a screenshot. And here I have 60,000. And I can go all the way back, you know, to 2004. I can continue. The tip is you can see a whole year at a glance in month-to-month groupings if you pinch. So just pinch the screen and then pinch again. Every time you pinch, the view gets more zoomed out until you're seeing a whole month and by year. So I can see 2016 all in one glance. And I say, oh, it was in March that we did something that I want to see the picture. Then you tap on something. You tap on again. Every time you tap, you're zooming in. So pinch is how to see it. And I did nothing to make these month groupings. This is the default way that Google Photos works. And I'll show you on the iPhone just so you can believe me that it works exactly the same.
You don't think they'll believe you? You have to show them.
Seeing is believing.
Not always.
So on the iPhone, the default app is this one that looks like a flower. It's also called Photos, just to make it more confusing. But if you do that, you're only seeing the photos on the phone, and I don't have very many. But instead, you use the Google Photos app, and I took a bunch of screenshots. And here I am seeing the same 60,000 pictures that I have on the other phone. And if you pinch, so pinch the screen until it doesn't pinch anymore. And now I have 2016 and grouped by month. So that's my tip, is view your photos using the Google Photos app and pinch the screen to see grouped by month.
Well, that's great. Thanks. We do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/2geeksontour. I don't see any questions. I was just over at the chat, and we'll just go right on. Internet connections as you travel.
Those interwebs, you know?
Yeah, we got
tubes.
those too. Yeah,
We're trying to figure out all those tubes.
the inner tubes. Wait a minute, we're not swimming. Okay. Let's see. So Wi-Fi or cellular. Now these are most people's choices. There is a satellite choice out there. Most people don't even consider that these days for different reasons. It's still viable. It still works. It's
expensive.
It is, yeah.
It's expensive and it's slow, and cellular is almost everywhere now.
Almost. And that's why we gave up our satellite dish many years ago, because cellular was good enough for us and satellite was much too expensive anymore.
So basically your choices are cellular and Wi-Fi. And cellular, you need to be near one of those big towers.
Right.
Now near is relative.
Yeah, those towers reach out typically 10 to 15 miles. They might be less because there might be more, they might be more dense. There might be more of them. So it's a power type of thing where they have to balance it. They don't always, have the most power, because that's not always the best thing. Sometimes a lower power with more of them around will give you a better experience. So, but being close to a tower is never a bad thing. I've never, as long as it's the carrier that you're looking for, right?
Right. Right. Like one of our worst experience with cellular was in New York City.
Yeah, you would think it would be wonderful in New York City, with the density of population, though. There were too many obstructions. They have big buildings in New York City, and so there were reflections. There were a lot of people trying to get on it, so that and it just wasn't as the experience that we expected, I guess.
And one of our best experiences with cellular was in the desert in Arizona.
Yeah, because we were close to one of those towers, and it was not too many people on it, and that's makes a big difference, right?
Okay. So we've been spoiled
Boy,
lately,
have we
though.
ever been spoiled. We have fiber optic cable in our townhouse in Fort Lauderdale, and it is just wonderful. So it's fast, it's dependable, it's always on, and it's unlimited data. We take it for granted when we're at home, and it's just amazing. It's like it's another utility, and people are starting to expect internet connections like they expect their telephone or their electricity or their lights.
But when you start traveling, you are in for a rude awakening. Very rude awakening.
Yeah, so you have to have more than one way of getting connected. You know, if what's it say here? When plan A doesn't work, you need plan B, plan C, and plan D if you really need the internet because of the dependability issue. And yeah, we've run into that as we travel, without a doubt. So yeah, it really is a complex topic. And for really all the nitty-gritty, we rely on these folks. Chris Dunphy and Cherie Bayard have this company called Technomadia, and they have the rvmobileinternet.com website and the Mobile Internet Handbook. Lots of good free info on their website, and they have a membership website too, so you get the latest and the greatest, and we recommend them for
absolutely
for the nitty-gritty.
We are so glad they are doing this. and we do look to them all the time.
And we tend to agree with everything, that they tend to.
We are members.
So yeah, good. Smartphone connects to cellular data. Okay, it works anywhere you're within a cell tower with antennas from your service provider. Very important. If you're on AT&T and the only thing up that pole is a Verizon, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work for you. Range varies, usually within 15 miles. Closer is usually better. Right underneath of it probably isn't the best. And your phone has a setting to turn off that use of cellular data. You have to make sure that's on. Now remember, you have a contract for cellular data on your phone, so you're paying for that. That's up to you and your contract and how much you have available to you.
Now, the only time I have ever turned off cellular data is when we're next to an international border where it might try to use a cell tower from Canada or Mexico and charge me roaming. You know, I'll turn it off and I'll only use Wi-Fi. But generally, I leave my cellular on all the time. I have a smartphone because I want to use it. If cellular data is turned off and I'm not in a Wi-Fi hotspot, then I can't navigate. I can't go to Facebook. I can't send my email. I can't watch YouTube.
You might be able to make a phone call.
What good is it? Yeah, I could make a phone call because that's not internet. That's not data. But it blows me away. Every once in a while, I talk to somebody and they say, "Well, I can't do navigation now, right?" And I say, "Why not?" And they say, "Well, because my cellular is off. I don't want to use my cellular data." I said, "Well, then why bother having the phone?" But it can be done. So that's a setting that you need to know where it is.
Okay. There is a question there. What do we have? We're going to tell you.
Yeah, we'll tell you. We have one of each.
All of the above.
We have one of each.
Okay.
Okay, so setting to turn off. All right, so phones need a cell tower.
Yeah. Don't count your bars before they're hatched. I like this. Because those bars are a nice indicator, but they're really not a sure way to know what's going on there. Look at some of these things. What were they? What'd you do there, Chris?
So we have one of each. So I took these screenshots this morning from the campground. And a T-Mobile, look at that. It only has one bar or one dot. That's the way it is on the iPhones.
I'm going to need a bar after this.
But it's got 9 megabits per second download. What happened? 9 megabits per second download and 1.3 up. That is perfectly acceptable. As compared to, look at this, the Verizon shows 3 bars, but 8 megabits per second download. Now, these are speed tests. So the number of bars is your first indicator as to whether you have service.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a very vague indicator.
Yeah, it's nice to see the bars, but even with our amplifier and the phone near that amplifier, sometimes we don't see much difference. It doesn't make 1 bar go to 4 bars usually, but sometimes it'll give you it gives you extra signal that isn't reflected somehow, but we get better throughput, so better speed tests when we do that.
Yeah, but even the speed tests aren't the end all.
No.
And this is why I say, if you really want to know it all, go to remobileinternet.com.
Yeah, I tend to go by the experience. I've been doing this a long time. I kind of know how long it should take for my email to come up or our website to come up and that type of thing. And I feel
the experience, yeah.
The experience.
Because I did some of these speed tests. I did all these speed tests on the screen this morning using the app called Ookla speed test. And I did the same test 10 minutes later in the same spot and got widely different results.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So you can't depend on any of the numbers. They are just indicators. But that said, which one of these, T-Mobile, Verizon, or AT&T, would you see is our best option right here, right now?
Let me guess. I would say the AT&T LTE at the bottom in the middle, with a download of 32.5 and an upload of 6.5 is the best overall connection.
And which kind of surprises us in general. So you ask what we have. We normally use Verizon wherever we are, because nationwide it is the best coverage. But there are places like right here, Verizon, not so much.
So if you lived here full-time or spent most of your time here, you might very well choose AT&T over another provider because it has the best signal today,
right here,
right now. Down the road, Verizon might be a little bit better. So it behooves you to check that stuff out. And it will change next week. Okay. Improve your signal. One thing that you can do is move outside. You know, a lot of times we're inside these RVs when we're traveling, and those things are made of metal. And they have walls that are made of metal, and they just block the signal from the outside. Just going outside, it works so much better.
Can make a big difference.
Yeah. Reboot your phone. Even just rebooting the signal by using airplane mode for a minute will make that change for you. Did you want to show that?
And I can show that. Yeah, let me show that, because I use that all the time.
Good.
So we're going to show my phone again. So is it good enough? Might be a little hard to see because we're talking about these 3 bars right here. And once again, the bars aren't necessarily the best indicator, but that's all I got to start with. Let's say that was only 1 or 2 bars, and I wanted to see if I could get it any better. What I would do is turn off all communications, and you do that by turning on airplane mode. So I go over to airplane mode, and most all phones will have some kind of shortcut for airplane mode. Mine is right there. Unless you use Wi-Fi, you will not be able to use internet email while you're in airplane mode. Turn it on, yes. Now, instead of any bars, I get a little airplane icon. Isn't that cute? And yeah, if I tried to go to Facebook, I would not be able to. So now I want to see if, when I turn my radios back on, if my signal improves. So that means turning off airplane mode. I go back to the shortcut, turn it off. Airplane mode will be turned off. Now it forces it to look around and find the cellular signal.
So a lot of times it'll find a better signal.
And it did go up to 4 bars, but now it's back down to 3. So who knows? I have had that made a huge difference, though, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes something's going wrong and your signal has just died.
Yeah.
Turn on airplane mode. And in the iPhone, it's even easier. The iPhone's shortcut is...
Go ahead.
Down on the, what do you call that? The control center, this. So when you swipe up from the bottom, you get this little control center, and there's airplane mode.
Single button. Some Verizon phones have it just as a button too.
Yeah, and there's the little airplane rather than the signals, the signal bars, and I go and I turn airplane off, and it's searching for a signal, and notice that this particular phone is T-Mobile, and it's now finding 2 dots.
Yeah.
Where it was 1 dot a minute ago.
Right.
Okay, so that's that demo.
All right. Now, another thing that you can do to get a better signal is for your cellular data is to use a cellular signal booster. And there are several of them out there on the market. We are right now testing one from Maximum Signal. The WeBoost is another one that's out there. It's made by Wilson Electronics, and it is one that we've been using for quite some time now. And we've had some good luck with it. When you get it and it works, you kind of keep it. But this new one is supposed to have more coverage inside than the WeBoost or the Wilson Electronics signal booster that we had on there. So we're checking it out, and so far it's looking pretty good for us.
I actually did do one test this morning, but we've already told you how unreliable these tests are. But I did one where the first time I checked my Samsung's speed, I got 1.6 down.
Wow.
He turned on the Maximum Signal amplifier, and it went to 37.
Wow. It would be nice
right.
if that worked all the time that way.
But that was the thing. 10 minutes later, I tested it again, and it was 18.
It was still better, but it was not. It wasn't kicking the way it was. So that's what I mean by the experience and the speed tests and the bars. So you look at the bars, yeah, okay. You look at the speed test, and that's a good indicator too. That's good, But really, the proof is in the pudding. What do you got?
And don't be looking to us to do a whole lot of comparisons between devices. That's what look to RV Mobile Internet to do that.
Okay. Now, another thing that you can do, if a Wi-Fi hotspot is available, switch to that Wi-Fi. Basically for 2 reasons. Why? There's no tower in range and you can't get cellular, and that happens in fewer and fewer places, but it still happens. And if you have a data contract with your cellular provider, and if you're getting close to that contract and don't want to pay more, then you want to connect to something else, and Wi-Fi is available. So what do you got there, demo?
Sure. And because the iPhone is currently underneath the camera, I'll start there.
Okay.
So to connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot on an iPhone, you go into your settings, and then Wi-Fi, and turn it on. When it's on, it will look around and it will see what other Wi-Fi hotspots are around. And if there is one that is open, you can connect to it. If it has a little lock, it means you need to know the passcode before you can even connect. And once, so I'll go to got guess. That's ours. I really don't want to do that though, do I? And you get this login. And so whatever one you connect to, you very likely need to know a password, either right away or after you try to browse. And we did another video on that. And on the Samsung, I need to get into my settings. I do that by swiping down from the top and settings and Wi-Fi. And the same thing. Turn it on and find the appropriate Wi-Fi hotspot. And that is important. Don't just pick anyone that says free. You need to ask the campground the name of their official Wi-Fi hotspot. And you can connect to it, and you will probably need a passcode as well. All right.
Yeah, we can't show you the local Wi-Fi that's in this RV park right now because theirs is down. We had to call them earlier to see what was going on, and they said that the whole park was down. Now, this is stuff that we paid for too. So we're going to have to ask for our money back, a little bit of it anyway, because it just doesn't work. And what do you do when it's not available? I'm not going to pay for it. Okay. So computers and tablets need Wi-Fi, typically. Now, there are some tablets out there that do have a cellular connection option, and there are even some computers out there with cellular
Very few.
Very few
Yeah.
of those. But still. What was this? You're laughing.
Mm-hmm. So if you are maybe a brand new RVer and you've looked at the brochures, all the campgrounds say we have free Wi-Fi. So you figure you're set.
Oh yeah.
You have free Wi-Fi. If once you're out there a while, you know that is a joke.
Yes.
Every once in a while, you will find Wi-Fi in an RV park that is really good. I mean, it does exist.
Right.
But even in those, if you go back there when they're really full,
Busy, yeah.
it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
So
now there are some parks that are taking all of the information into account and improving their systems to the point where they're actually almost good enough. And there are some that are, but not always. And some you have to deal with it. And it's not always free. So where do you get Wi-Fi for tablets?
So here we go. How do we do it? Our plan A is to use our Verizon Samsung phones as a hotspot because we have an unlimited data plan.
And we use the Foxfi app. It's a way to tether our computers and our other devices to that Verizon data plan without paying extra and without using the Verizon part of it. It's a third party. It doesn't work on all phones anymore, and fewer going forward. It still works on our devices with the operating system versions that we're using, so we're hanging on to that as long as we can. There are other products out there and other contracts that allow. That's how we are doing it.
Should I show that?
You want to?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because yeah, every Android phone and every iPhone can be turned into a hotspot. But if you have an unlimited data plan, there is an extra piece. So I can go into my settings, wireless and networks, and the ability to turn it into a hotspot is not on this first screen. So I'm going to tap on more networks. And there it is, mobile hotspot. So if I say turn the mobile hotspot on, then that takes the cellular internet that's coming into the phone, turns it into a hotspot that goes out of the phone. I turn it on, and it uses your mobile data connection. Your Wi-Fi connection will be turned off. Okay. Checking subscription status. To use mobile hotspot, you will need to subscribe. So this is telling me it's not allowing me to use my unlimited data plan as a hotspot. However, on this phone with our service and our plan, we do have a workaround. It doesn't exist for most phones anymore, and that is Foxfi. So there is the Foxfi app, and I activate
You did it.
I'm just impatient.
You did it, and then you undid it, and then you did it, and then you undid it, and then you did it.
Verifying internet connection. Is it still doing?
Uh-huh.
All right. Well,
Not working so good right now, right here.
and that's because I messed it up. So I can go to my multi apps and force quit those
And start over.
and start over. And that's another thing I do all the time, force quitting apps and starting over when things have gotten too messed up. So Foxfi, activate internet connection. Well, it's still taking a while. Anyway, when that part gets done, then it takes me to the system hotspot, and now it works. So we are able to use our Verizon plans as a hotspot, and that is our #1 plan. You know, that's
plan A.
That's plan A.
Okay, what's plan B?
Plan B is to hope that the campground does have good Wi-Fi.
And if they do, and it's good, we will use it.
Absolutely.
And we'll even pay for it when it's good.
Yeah. But that is rare. Therefore, we have plan C.
Okay. Plan C is our T-Mobile hotspot. Now we have a T-Mobile phone now. Is which one? I can't remember.
This one right here.
Oh, okay.
So this phone is on T-Mobile, but we actually have the hotspot. It's inside, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, we do. Yeah, we have a MiFi device that is a hotspot. Yeah.
And this is a T-Mobile phone. We could make it into a hotspot, but we have a separate hotspot.
Right. So the T-Mobile hotspot, the MiFi device, is our plan C. And our plan D is to use the iPhone as a hotspot. Now we have Chris's newest iPhone 7.
And this is on AT&T. Right here, right now, AT&T is the best. So that's what I'm using. I've turned this phone into a hotspot, and my computer is connected to this as a hotspot. And what are you using?
I'm using Mr. Geek because I am Mr. Geek.
And that is your Samsung Verizon. And both of them are working pretty good because we do have the maximum signal
cellular booster.
The booster on.
Did you get the pictures in
right now?
There?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll show you some pictures.
Come later. And then actually, I don't have it down here, but we have a plan E as well, and that's your phone.
That's right. I have the Project Fi phone from Google, and it uses Sprint, T-Mobile, or US Cellular, depending on which one works best in the area that you're in. And so I have T-Mobile when I'm in a T-Mobile area. I have Sprint here. Not so good.
Not so good.
But that's what it's connected to. It's better than T-Mobile here in the area. And then US Cellular isn't here at all.
But we used that when we were in Europe last year because it worked with no extra charge.
It worked in England, France, and Belgium.
Yeah.
Didn't work in the Channel.
Now, do we recommend that you get all these? What is our cellular bill? Is about $450 a month.
Yeah, anybody want to pay that for us?
Because we are paying for an AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile,
two T-Mobiles,
and
two Verizon.
Two Verizons and one Project Fi.
Project Fi is the least expensive of all of those. 10 gigabytes per month. You have to start at 3, but if you don't use them all, they'll give you some back. And then it's just 10 gigabytes. $10 per gigabyte going forward.
Now, you don't have to do that, but we're just letting you know, if you really want internet, that's what you have to do. You have to have all these choices.
All of the above.
Campground Wi-Fi.
All right.
First of all, realize that you might need to go to the campground clubhouse. And for example, here, there is free Wi-Fi in the clubhouse, and it worked pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you want it at your site, there may be a charge.
And that's the way it works here.
Yeah. And if it's at your site and the signal is strong enough, you're good to go. If not strong enough, call the Wi-Fi hotspot provider. That's something that I don't think most people do, because it might just be a glitch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first
Something
time
that
we
they
called,
might not even know about.
right? The first time we called, they said, "Oh yeah, that radio is down. Let's remotely turn it back on." And within a few minutes, it was on.
Mm-hmm. And it was working well.
But the second time we called, they said, "Yep, it's dead.
It's broke.
It's dead, Jim. The whole campground is down."
For their service. But we were walking around, we were taking some pictures of some of the access points around there. And when you look on your device for available networks, it's amazing how many available networks are there. Most of these RVers now are traveling with their own hotspots and their own connections. It's really pretty remarkable.
All right. So if you are in a campground with a Wi-Fi hotspot that they say is working and is not working well for you, then you can improve your signal some of the same ways as with cellular. Move outside. Reboot your Wi-Fi. Reboot the computer, or just like on the phones, on the computer, you can turn the Wi-Fi off and turn it back on, and it might be better.
Use a signal booster, a Wi-Fi signal booster, and there are a bunch of those out there. We have our friends from Techno RV sell an Alpha Networks signal booster. Linksys is another name that you've probably heard of out there. Netgear, all of these companies are out there, and they have a standalone or a booster that will allow your laptop, usually your laptop, to get a better Wi-Fi signal. They also have external routers so that you can get more than one device connected to that outside signal boosted. And that's what we kind of...
I just want to make it really clear that you understand the difference between Wi-Fi and cellular.
Right.
Because we can't see either of them. Either of them are just waves through the air, but they are different kind of waves. So if you want to boost the signal to your cell phone from a tower, make sure you get a cellular booster.
Right.
If you want to boost the signal from a Wi-Fi hotspot to your computer, you need a Wi-Fi booster.
Typically, it's going to be a public Wi-Fi hotspot that has an access point down the road somewhere. You want to grab that signal and bring it inside your rig and allow your local devices to connect to it that way.
I just want to show you the screen of Techno RV, our friends who sell some of this stuff. And because there's Wi-Fi boosters and there's cell phone and MiFi boosters, two different categories of devices.
Okay.
Okay.
Now is the next one, the one about making your cellular into Wi-Fi, and how do you get that? So you have cellular, and you have public Wi-Fi, and then you have your own private Wi-Fi from your own hotspot. So
Yep.
That's how it works. And you got it right there.
That is the next slide.
I knew it would be. So routers and bridges. We use Wi-Fi Ranger. We've also used one from WineGuard. Sorry about that. WineGuard has a brand new device out there. It's strictly for Wi-Fi. There's an external antenna, and there's an internal antenna and router, and that one works really well.
The Wi-Fi Ranger has been around a long time, and we've been using it for years.
And these guys are the pros. I
I would call
say,
this the gold standard.
yeah, they just have a new system out, and they're constantly working with this stuff, and it's amazing. So we have a lot of devices, including a smart TV and a wireless printer. We don't want to have to reconfigure everything every time we move to a different location. So our Wi-Fi Ranger connects to whatever is the best connection for the internet, and we connect all of our devices to that Wi-Fi Ranger. Then in turn, we connect the Wi-Fi Ranger to the signal. Everybody has the internet, and it works great. All right.
Yeah, so the printer is set up to connect to Wi-Fi Ranger, and we don't have to change that.
Right. You just turn it on and it's connected.
Every new campground, the Wi-Fi Ranger changes what it's connected to, but the printer can always connect to the Wi-Fi Ranger.
And you do that with a configuration tool on your computer or on your smart device, a smartphone or tablet. I usually use my computer, connect to the Ranger, go into the configuration, connect to whatever is available out there, and boom, we're in. And here's a picture or a screenshot of that. So we got the Mr. Geek is what it's connected to in this screenshot. You see all of these other possible Wi-Fi signals. And most of them are encrypted. You need to have the password to get into them. But there are so many there. And one of the great things about the Wi-Fi Ranger and the other boosters of the Wi-Fi types is you see a lot more possible access points to connect to when you use these devices, typically because they have an outside antenna with an unobstructed line of sight signal. And that is really the most important part with any of these radios. An unobstructed line of sight is going to give you a better signal. A better radio and a more powerful radio amplifier is going to give you a better signal, and a higher gain antenna is going to give you a better signal. So all of those things working together is only half of it. There with the two antennas sticking up, that is the Wi-Fi Ranger's outside antenna. Okay?
Okay.
That's the one that goes with the Wi-Fi Ranger inside.
All right.
And that was...
Now, the Wi-Fi Ranger is a fairly expensive piece of equipment.
Yeah, all that stuff together. And you can buy it modularly and get the pieces that you need. Check out their website, WiFiRanger.com.
There are other smaller devices that do similar things, like this little Hutu that we demonstrated on a past show. This is a wireless router.
Yeah, this does
Travel.
essentially almost everything that the Wi-Fi Ranger core and outside antenna do. But that has a bigger antenna and a more powerful amplifier. This has a small antenna and a small amplifier. This is good for local stuff. That's good for stuff that's at a longer distance. But hey, this works too.
This is great for hotel traveling.
Right. We used it in Miami where they had an Ethernet cable. I plugged the Ethernet cable into this. This turns into a Wi-Fi hotspot, and then I could connect my other devices to that, and we had good high speed. It worked great. All right. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Well, Eddie asked, what kind of Wi-Fi and cellular booster do you have installed on the RV? Well, I think we answered that. I hope we did anyway. For Wi-Fi right now, I'm using Wi-Fi Ranger. And for cellular booster, I'm using this
Maximum
signal booster. And okay, cool stuff. Next, more questions. Get going. Old Dog's learning new tricks. Geeks on Tour. Check us out at geeksontour.com. Like us on Facebook. My app of the week is Signal Check Lite. This is how we were looking at some of these numbers that we see us bantering about all over the place. And this is an app that you can download for your iPhone or your Android. This is the Android one. Where is it?
This is the Android one.
This is the Android one. Okay, and it'll show you what signal you're connected to, what kind of signal you're getting. This is helpful. I actually got this one time when I was on tech support with Verizon. They asked me to check some of these numbers and give them to them, and they have some other tools too, but this was a real easy tool to get. So if you're wondering about these signals and the different numbers and that kind of stuff, you really want to get into the nitty-gritty, talk to Technomatia and Mobile Internet Handbook people. They will explain what all of these numbers mean, because it's way on beyond me. I used to know a little bit about that stuff, but not so much anymore.
I just want it to work.
Yeah. You and everybody else, I think. Some of us geeks like to mess around with it, but
Yeah, I just want it
most
to
people
work.
just want it to work and work well. Well, did you learn something? I know I did. Okay. Questions. Review. A smartphone can connect to the internet via either what or what, Chris?
Cellular data or Wi-Fi?
Okay. There's also satellite, but we're not really going to talk
A smartphone.
Okay. If they had a router, they could, but not directly. Generally, computers and tablets can only connect via
Wi-Fi.
with only a few exceptions, right?
Yeah.
Cellular data always costs. Wi-Fi to you is often free. True or false?
True.
Yeah. Somebody has to pay for that internet connection, usually the RV park, and they pass that on to you somehow. To improve your phone's signal reception from a cell tower, what do you need? A Wi-Fi booster, a cellular booster, a router, or none of the above?
B, a cellular booster.
Because you're boosting your phone's signal reception. To improve your computer signal reception from a campground Wi-Fi, what do you need? A Wi-Fi booster, a cellular booster, a router, or none of the above?
A Wi-Fi booster.
Right. A Wi-Fi Ranger is what? A Wi-Fi booster, a cellular booster, or a router?
It is a Wi-Fi booster, and it is a router.
Right. And you can connect a cellular signal with some of those USB devices, the USB modems. Some of those, and even some smartphones, can plug directly into the Wi-Fi Ranger core inside device, and you can use them as a modem. It's really pretty cool. What do we got next? It's time.
That's it.
What's the web page that lists all of our weekly shows?
GeeksOnTour.com, and the menu item is Weekly Show.
And the web page that lists all of our recent newsletters?
GeeksOnTour.com, and the menu item is Blogs and News.
That's great. What the benefits you get by joining Geeks on Tour?
First is our complete learning library of prepared tutorial videos. You can ask questions in our members Q&A, and you get all the show notes from these shows, and you get all our ebooks, including the Google Photos book.
That's great. All right, we do invite you to become a member. Just go to our website and click on the link that says Become a Member. Next week, we're going to have a live show, January 15th, 2 p.m. Eastern
Today
Time.
is January 15th.
Okay, then we'll have one on the 22nd. How's that?
Okay, it's a deal.
And we'll post these things on Wednesday. The finished product, hopefully, will be finished enough on thebuttonshow.com, including the show notes for members. Watch for the notification of our next show. Let us know that you're coming, and leave any questions there in the comments on The Button Show. And that's it for us.
We did it.
Yeah. See you next time. I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And we're Geeks On
And keep
Tour.
pressing those buttons.
What does this button
That's
do?
how you learn. Just push it.
Don't do that button.
See what happens. Just push that button.
She keeps pushing my buttons. Bye-bye now.